Hello, everyone. This is Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw. And I am joined by the incredible, the man, the myth, the legend. He pulled the sword from the stone and he put it back just so someone else could do it and feel good. Crashy is here. Hi,
Listen,
Crashy.
I finger guns on your video because you finger guns on my video. But I do want to make a full, I think I need to address the audience here. I pulled the sword from the stone, but I put it back so I could pull it again. It's mine. It's mine. Oh. Plot twist.
Oh, that's huge. We talked on Crashy's channel a lot about the 3 new items added to Pokemon Unite and how they sort of fit into the game. So please go over there and watch that if you haven't. I think it's a really interesting conversation. And man, those items are awesome. They do change the game a lot. I'm sure we'll touch on them a little bit in this video where we're just talking about our overall first impressions of the mobile launch, which brought a huge update to the Switch as well. As you talked about before, this feels like the real launch of this game. It feels completely different. Just going into the menu of it feels like a different game. The second I loaded it up, it felt new, and I love it. I love opening a game and feeling like, oh wow, this update is real. This is like going to a new operating system on a computer or something.
If you were to wipe away what we knew and show me footage of like the menu and the way the game looked on Switch, and literally like Men in Black pull up your little flash thing and spark me with it, I would have thought it was beta gameplay. I would have assumed because the layer of polish that's here, albeit like, it's a nice film layer. You know what I mean? It's not it's not profound. It's not crazy different, but the in-game menu UI, they've condensed menus down into like one window. The actual like in-game, there's like this cell shading and like a nice polish to things. Like everything looks a little cleaner. There's like updated animations, like even like holding your energy. There's like, you can see the cap on it now, and everything feels very clean and polished. It's almost weird that it came. Yeah, mobile was the true launch. It really was. It absolutely was.
Yeah, which I get. It kind of feels like, look, I played the beta for the game as well, but it kind of feels like we were in on something early, Crashy. We get to remember the old days when things were. There were so many menus, so many places to go. There's held and battle items over, but then you got your trainer card, and then at the bottom there was just so much going on inside this, and it looks so clean and nice. I guess as we're talking about how clean and nice it looks, it also runs a lot better even on the Switch. The UI runs better. It's not as clunky. It's more responsive, I think.
Yeah, I definitely feel some performance boost there. I mean, the Switch is the Switch, so I'm still feeling like some in-game, FPS hiccups and such. But I mean, at least from what I've heard, I haven't played a ton of mobile. I've played like a couple games on it. At least from what I've heard, I think it's running pretty well. I am a little, and maybe I haven't tested this myself, but from what I've heard, no controller support. I'm a little disappointed in that.
Yeah.
That one hurts a little bit, if I'm being honest.
Well, it hurts me too, because I planned on taking mobile and just hooking up, an Xbox controller syncs to my phone just fine. Not that I don't actually love the Switch controller. I actually really am loving my Pro controller, just the feel of it. But I just thought, I'm going to hook up an Xbox controller. I'm going to run this on my mobile device, and I'm going to have a better, smoother gameplay experience in that respect. And it is smoother, crisper.
Yeah.
The frame rate never drops. So I wanted to do it on mobile, but I'm still playing on Switch because I really have a hard time transitioning to the touch controls. If I'm being I feel like my play has got to be cut in half, my efficiency on doing certain things.
Yeah, I really wanted to go the tablet solution, and I can hear people saying, well, why don't you play mobile? Actually play mobile. And it's like, I've never been a mobile gamer. I've really almost never played mobile games, especially nothing that required a bit of mechanics. And it's just a little too much of a push for me personally. Like I recognize that the performance is probably or is way better, but I'm not really willing to sacrifice my peripheral for it. Like I want my controller in my hand, and who knows, maybe that's a future thing coming, right? Because I think it would be a missed opportunity. I really do think that it would be unfortunate if I couldn't, sync up to a controller. And I'm very much so a kind of setup kind of gamer. Like I sit in this spot, I'm all hooked up. My Switch hasn't left that dock in almost over a month. No kidding. I don't pick it up. I don't take it anywhere. I don't take the Joy-Cons off of it. It's always there. And I wanted that in tablet form or in mobile form. I really did. I was looking at solutions. I was looking at devices. And so I feel like that's a missed opportunity, but who knows? Maybe they'll work on it. Maybe they are working on it. I don't even know how difficult that is. But that's like, one of the very few complaints I have. Gameplay wise, I mean, itemization, like you said, we talked about it. I feel like who knew that adding 3 items was going to profoundly change the game, and it feels like it does. Do you want to touch on that at all? Like how do we
we'll talk about it briefly because we really dive into it on your channel. Their 3 new items are the weakness policy, razor claw, and choice specs. And those, along with some buffs and nerfs to Pokemon, seem to shake up the meta in a really exciting way, because you might not be seeing the exact same focus band, buddy barrier, score shield, or focus band, buddy barrier, muscle band on every single Pokemon, which I think is a much needed change. It was a little unfortunate for me to get so many questions and make so many videos with the same answer, going focus band, score shield, muscle band, buddy barrier, focus band, score shield, muscle band, buddy barrier. Now I can say, actually, there are a lot of different ways to build for some of these Pokemon, even though I also still think they probably could have buffed a few of the weak items.
Yeah.
But however, I really like the addition of these 3.
I think that you saw the letter that they put out, right? Like the letter they did. So I'm briefly going to touch on that because I really, there was one part of it. Oh man, it hit me deep in my core, where the developers were basically saying like, we've learned so much from y'all about our own game. I love that so much. And I think that that's always going to be part of the human experience of making something creative. I learn from my viewers about what they want to see and how I can be better. And I think that that's an interesting perspective to have, because while they didn't touch items now, I don't think that they've necessarily locked in that as a total, for forever. Right? I can't think of how I want to word that, but I don't think that necessarily means that they will never buff old items. But we got items like Shell Bell and Rocky Helm and Assault Vest and Floatstone. Those items they basically are not items, kinda. And that's a little disappointing, because I would have loved to see some rebalancing for some of those items. But I think give them some time, let the developers continue to learn about their game and to see, because they have data. That's a big important thing. They have data, especially with these new items. Those other item percentages in terms of use have to be just plummeting if they weren't already on the floor.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think from reading that letter, they're going to do something, and I think it would be slight. I think just like these new items kind of giving new choices, even if you just touched up Rocky Helmet a little bit, just touched up Assault Vest a little bit, all of a sudden you have to go, well, Assault Vest used to be a 15% shield, but now it's a 30% or 25% shield. That's actually pretty huge going into any encounter. So if they just touch these a little bit, I do think they all become a bit more viable. And I really liked that letter. Maybe I don't know, I'm a little gullible, like, great, PR spin on some of the issues they had. But I actually really liked what they had to say about the state of the game and what they were doing to it. And then you see this update and you go, oh, they were serious.
Yeah.
Giving those, let's talk about this really quick. Giving those 3 level 30 super item enhancers, I think I talked about a respec token or some sort of way to help people who picked the wrong items. That I feel like is not 100%, but I can't think of a better solve than giving someone 3 level 30 items. They're saying, look, if you put it into leftovers, Rocky Helmet, Eos Cookie, we're sorry. Put this into whatever you want. 3 level 30s. Go ahead. And
how crazy is it that they could have made it to where you just boost an item to 30 and don't get the tickets back or the item enhancers back, but they did. Yeah. So they not only did they nail it by putting that item in the game, giving us those 3 level 30 boosters, but they did it in the best way possible. It wasn't like there was no short-sightedness to it at all. I feel like they really nailed that. Then we have like the 7-day 30 trials too. I don't remember how many there are. Is it 3 of them? But
3.
Yeah, but so then it's like you can do some stuff with that. I'm honestly going to hold on to those for a while. Personally, I don't really know where I'm going to put those. But yeah, man, I feel like they put out that original survey way back, and surely everyone, including myself, probably went on there and was like, we don't like the item enhancer like system, the way it's working. And you know, when you're thinking about the business that they're trying to run, the bottom line is they are running a free-to-play game that needs to monetize, but they also need to keep the faith and the player base. And I feel like they saw the implications of leaving it alone, and they said, you know, we can't let that slide. You know, we have to do something, and they did it. And I'm very, very pleased on the item enhancers, on the upgrades, on just the fact that if you're playing the game, you're going to get a ton of tickets and a ton of item enhancers. That's just how the game is right now, and it feels like, you know, I had someone ask me just yesterday, is this game free to play friendly? I was like, yeah, I think it's really free to play friendly.
I think it's always been pretty friendly, free to play. One of the first videos I made about the game was discussing, or not the first, but when the controversy about it being pay to win was happening, I made a video saying, was this game pay to win? And my answer was, absolutely, not meaning that you will win, but you are paying for an advantage. And I feel like I got to at least say that they have neutralized about as much of that as they reasonably can with these 3. And yes, you're right. You get so many item enhancers. Getting things to level 20 is not really that difficult at all. Plus these 3 super enhancers, I feel like they've really done a good job of trying to not let someone just pay their way into a big game advantage.
Yeah, I feel like they did a good job with it. I'm pretty pleased with it. I think this is a perfect opportunity for us to segue, because, you know, we talked about the free-to-play model and the desire to monetize. How are you feeling about holowear and cosmetics and things that we've seen, whether it be leaks or what's in the game currently?
It's getting better. Like Charizard is better. That Charizard's pretty dang cool.
It's cool, man. It's cool. My captain boy.
I never Gengar in a spacesuit. I can't say I understand it, but I like it.
That's like exactly what I wanted, though. Like, it's not literally, but I was so afraid that they weren't going to take risks. And all of a sudden, not only, and this I think is an important detail. I don't know why, maybe I'm overthinking it, but the important detail of the Gengar skin was not the skin itself, but the fact that they designed the pre-evolution skins with it. And this is the big one. I may be overthinking it. They have that whole like animated like background with it. It's so clear that they put so much love and time and effort into that skin just to really like wow me with it. And I feel like they did. I'm very pleased with that skin.
I totally agree with you. I hope they keep going in that direction, because some of the ones they release, I go, I don't know. I don't really want Eldegoss with just a different headband. It doesn't excite me at all. But I do think it's really cool to see what they're doing with Garchomp, to see what they're doing with Gengar, to see some of the leaked stuff that we're looking at. I really like the direction they're going with a lot of that, and especially like you said, the pre-evolutions, your recall animations, like all this stuff feels
so good.
Yeah. It feels where it needs to be. I could do with a lot less of these Pokemon wearing some clothes.
Yeah.
I could do with a lot less of that, but way more of they're dressed up as a pirate. They're dressed up as a ninja. This one is a fireman.
I was so worried that we weren't going to get some kind of like holiday skins and stuff too, because I just feel like I don't know what it is. Some developers go really in on the holidays, and some developers almost seem to like holidays, I don't know what that is. Haven't heard of that. It's like they don't want to get like political with it, or they don't want to lean into a certain type of holiday on one side of the world or the other or something. It feels like. But dude, I kind of feel like I'm gonna get some Santa Claus. I'm gonna get some big old jack-o'-lantern. You know what I mean? I feel like that's gonna come now. Like, I'm excited about that. I do think that there's a lot of potential there. I think that I wonder, this is where it's weird. I wonder how much of the new cosmetics were a response to feedback on cosmetics and how much of it was like, oh no, we were already working on that. Like it was on the way.
I wonder that too. I mean, if I were to just guess, I kind of think they were already working
Me
on it,
too,
and
yeah.
they just had some stuff that were like, yeah, it's Absol with a hat, take it or leave it, you know.
Yeah, we'll give them that. We'll give them that for now. But when our mobile comes out, when the real game launches, we'll throw them a bone. Yeah, that's how it feels to me too.
Yeah, I like it. I like the direction they're going, and I'm happy to try to support some of it. This is true of any MOBA. It feels like pretty expensive, but that's how it always goes. It's like, hey, you want this skin? You really like this Pokemon? Give me $20,
Yeah.
dude. So that part of it's a little tough, but I really like what they've done with that. I like the new battle pass. So all of that feels great. I mean, I gotta say, I really like almost everything that they've done in this update. I'm trying to think of what oh, you know what? I want to talk to you about this. So you haven't played much on mobile, right?
I've played like a couple games, yeah.
Okay. So I'll say for me, control wise, I have a tough time on mobile for some reason. Like I keep having to pick up my left thumb and move it back on when I'm trying to move a lot. Like I'm not able to do this for a super long time. But I do think that they have made an extremely competent and user-friendly combat experience in the mobile game. I feel like I'm way better on controller, but they did a great job.
Nice.
I think they did
the reality is, and there's like these funny misconceptions happen or misunderstandings happen where people forget like Tencent to Timmy and what exactly these companies do, and they're like, oh well, they made League of Legends, like surely they're gonna do these good things. And it's like, well, no, they're that's not necessarily true. Timmy is the studio that's really making the game, but they're the studio that makes Arena of Valor, and so that's already a mobile MOBA. And I was excited to see what the reception in terms of controls and settings and the feel of it was, because again, I'm not a mobile gamer. I don't want to lie. I'm not going to pretend. I already told people, I was like, you're not going to see me holding this thing playing the game. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to do it. I'm a console gamer originally that turned into a PC gamer, and I've never changed. And so I'm excited to hear that. I'm excited to hopefully see them continue the development in that front, and especially in terms of controller support, because that's the true solution that I'm hoping for to move over to that platform.
Yeah. Well, if they had controller support, I'd be playing on it just because it's way more stable. You know, I have to turn all my notifications off, but besides that, while I'm playing on my phone, it's just like things are like popping down, like, DoorDash is doing a thing. I'm like, not right now. It's not. I'm trying to put a barrier up.
It's funny. I mean, I definitely think if you're someone that wants to take the game serious, it's a tough one to have a personal device and a gaming device all in one. Like, hey, look, I love the fact that technology has gotten us there, right? Like, I used to play like little bitty phone clicky games on my phone. Kind of showing my age a little bit, but yeah, it's definitely a new age for technology. But I'm trying to think of where else I want to go with the discussion.
I'd really like to talk to you about the update of the buffs and nerfs and how it's kind of changed the game, because the meta was so tanky. The meta was so these specific 5 or 6 Pokemon, and I really think, besides doing absolutely nothing to Lucario at all, let's face it, I really think they've done a pretty good job of a little nerf here and there and some really solid buffs.
Yeah. I think so. One fear that I have, and this is my form of disclaimer, is that I don't want to honeymoon changes too hard. I really don't. But the speedster role is feeling pretty solid. I don't know. I did a prediction tier list because it's fun, right? It's fun to do it, and I want to test myself on my perception of things early on. But I don't know how far the speedsters will go. And as far as the things go, I hate to say it, I don't feel like Gengar really feels any different at all. I feel like he's still pretty bad. And I want him to be good, especially now because he's a spaceman. And but yeah, I think the buffs feel good. Like Talonflame and Absol, they feel pretty good, man.
They do. I really think the speedsters got a lot of love with this. The items help out a lot. I talked to you briefly about this. feel like there's something going on with experience, and I can't quite put my finger on what it is, but I'm reaching the end of the game, especially as a jungler, always level 15 almost. So there's something happening there, and I feel like that also helps speedsters out, because if they're over leveled, then them coming in, Talonflame and Absol specifically, with that big boost of massive chunk damage, they can really do their job a lot better.
Do
you know?
you feel like it's appropriate to say that and again, maybe this is a little, overzealous, but do you feel like it's appropriate to say that we might be in a burst meta?
Boy, I'm glad you asked if it was appropriate. I don't think it's appropriate, but I do think it might be time to start saying it.
Yeah.
Look, it's gonna ruffle some feathers, but you can't be appropriate your whole life, Crashy. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it feels a lot more bursty, especially with an item like Razor Claw and things like that. But as we see people drop some defensive items and add on bursty items, and other, Pokemon do the same, I really do think we're seeing things get burst down a lot faster than we were in this previous meta that was insanely tanky. It was Blastoise and Wigglytuff, and not that these Pokemon are bad, they're still really good, but we were seeing just Pokemon who could never get taken out. So when you have an Absol and the other team has a Blastoise, you just think, well, this Absol can be in the fight for 1 second, and the Blastoise is going to be there the entire time. And now, even against people like Blastoise, I'm seeing them get taken down a lot quicker.
Yeah, it's interesting because I could make a hypothesis about what's going on with experience, but I definitely think that there's something there, and we'll figure it out, right? Someone will figure it out. But it definitely feels like, and again, if you guys don't know, in terms of level difference, the change in stats from one level to the next is massive. So even if the game is like, let's say on average most players were hitting like 11 to 12, even if the game on average is hitting most players to like 13 to 14, that's a big difference in terms of in terms of damage and stats that come into the game. This is a thing that I think is really interesting. I was already kind of feeling like I don't really have many issues with Zapdos, but one of the big issues I did have is that it just dies too fast, in my opinion, and now I feel like it dies faster. So that's a little concerning, because coin flipping games feels, oh gosh, it feels impossible to stop at times. So,
well, you're so to jump in here really quick. You're so right, because I've noticed before, if you're not in the immediate vicinity of Zap, let's say you've got a plan and you go, I'm gonna dunk 100 points top, and then I'm going to come back to Zap. If you're not in the immediate vicinity of that Zapdos, sometimes at the 2 minutes, that thing is gone in a second, dude. It's gone so fast, which it is a bit of a concern. I agree. It probably needs a little more health, honestly, because I will get there and be like, whoa, it's like, I really have to, at this point, throw my Unite or whatever my Steel move is, because it is done already.
I think that this might start to shine a little bit later on, and again, I hope I'm not being overzealous here, but Fluffy Tail was already good. I feel like Fluffy Tail could be problematic to the meta. You run someone like Crustle, you run someone like Zeraora, and you throw a Fluffy Tail in there. If the team is focused on like holding goals in the end game and trying to dance a little bit, next thing you know, like you said, they could look over and it's gone. And so, and these are just, I mean, I'm not like worried per se, but it's definitely something we have to feel out in time. Some changes I would like to see, and again, I'm already talking about changes, but maybe Zapdos needs to be buffed. And I've already wanted this prior to this patch, but I really want Fluffy Tail to be like the smite item. I want it to be it does a flat damage or has some kind of equation to equal damage, as opposed to just like, oh, this thing's incredibly weak now and you do a ton more damage to it. Because shredding it as opposed to like hitting it for like a good amount, that's scary to me. That's really, really scary to me. It does a lot of damage, or can bring a lot of damage, and how quickly you can burn it. But overall, I mean, if I guess I'm just summarizing everything, I'm very pleased with this patch, like incredibly pleased.
Yeah, I think they went above and beyond, and I actually think they probably did this patch in this way to trick specifically you, Crashy, because I think what they did is they released the Blissey update. They lulled you into a feeling that the
Yeah.
game wasn't going to change much, only to, you know, give you this massive update to the game. So I really think that you owe them an apology. Probably owe a lot of people an apology. You could
Probably
just say
so,
that
yeah.
you were wrong. They fooled you. They fooled you, Crashy.
It's so funny because I was so stressed about the Blissey patch, and then I had to pull myself into some new perspective. I think I did that here with you, where I said, you know what, I have to remind myself that they see the game change every day they go to work, and we see it change in bulk and these big clumps. And the game was created to be serviced. It's a live service game. That's literally what it is. So I'm impressed. There's still some things I want. If I'm being honest, matchmaking ranked, still exactly the same. There's some things I want, and I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. I'm here to share feedback. I'm here to experience it. That letter, man, I have to touch on it again. That letter took me from Blissey patch, I have low confidence, to like, all right, I'll meet you halfway. You know, I'm good. I'm here. I'm excited. And when I've said this about developers in the past, when some of these developers out there in the world put their best foot forward and they put out their good work, it's the best work. And that's how I'm feeling with this patch. I feel like they put their best foot forward. I'm so impressed. I'm so pleased. I've got so much confidence for the future. And yeah, just give me more. Give me more, right?
That's awesome. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap this up. I echo your sentiments. I'm really excited. I think they nailed everything. I think they addressed a lot of their biggest concerns, and I feel like something I was really hoping for was that the sort of meta in a tier list sense was going to narrow, so more things were going to be viable, and I think they've absolutely done that. I'm so excited. What a time to be alive. Crashy, thank you so much for being here. Thank you everyone for watching this, listening to this. Please go watch the other part if you haven't yet. Yeah. Goodbye, everybody. Mwah.